You ready?
I'm ready.
I said it a little late and then you said it a little quick. But you get the point. All right.
응답하라
Yeochin.
여친. Go to the into the she.
Back to the kyung to the Jew. Hey. First, do I have anything stuck on my teeth?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Reading
I
kimbap.
can ask Jane because I trust her completely. I can tell you anything.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe how much we've grown.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm close to a good amount of people. And then there's like a lot of people I know.
Mm-hmm.
But you're top tier, Jane.
Oh, wow.
I don't feel any embarrassment when I tell you anything because I've told you everything.
And I feel that way too because
there's no
take
judgment
that with
between
me.
us.
Correct.
I think between us we have such. Okay, it is a brag. I'm bragging. We have such a care for, like, your win is my win. Like, I'm so proud of you. I just still can't believe you're my 동생. Like, the fact that you're younger than me always blows my mind because you're younger than me, but you're so, like, you have such an 언니 presence about you.
Oh, my goodness.
But I'm still her 언니 and I need to take care of her. And it's just,
and I love that about our relationship.
And I love that because I think you do that enough in your life where you're taking care of everybody that I like that I'm actually older than you so that you feel a little less.
But it's the mutuality.
Yeah.
It's not like you're on the all the time.
Yeah.
Like I can be that for you too.
Yeah, we're very
and vice
caring.
versa. Yes.
We're very, and I feel it with you. And anyways, yes, it is a brag. Get a friend where you can really, it just flows with us.
Yeah.
Like there is no like, we're always giving to each other. I feel it. And I feel that in a genuine way. Not just like by our actions, our words, our care, like, or just our interest in each other's lives. It's always like just flowing seamlessly.
Yes.
It's the most effortless friendship.
Oh, I love that the way you put that. And that's why this month, the past 4 weeks have felt long for me because I haven't had this to look forward to. So this is our first time recording in a month. Maybe a little bit more than a month.
It feels,
yeah.
I'm like, I haven't seen Jane in so long. And it's true what they say. It makes the heart grow fonder. And I was like, I can't wait to tell you so many things. And I specifically wanted to talk to you about Korea.
Okay.
And you went to Korea
in October.
So
what was that? 6 months ago?
Yeah. It didn't feel that long ago.
No, it didn't.
Right?
Because time flies.
Yeah, time really flies. And then I just got back and
we both went at the ideal times to go in terms of weather.
Yes. I felt so spectacular because I think Korea had rained like the week before, but when I was there, not a single drop of rain. And it was the perfect like 68, 70s.
Oh, that's the best.
Beautiful. Such
the best.
I didn't have to carry a jacket. I was mostly just in a t-shirt, but it never got cold. It never got really hot.
Oh,
so ideal.
The best.
I had a really great time. And Jane, I am so happy to tell you, this trip was probably one of the best for me in terms of going to Korea. I think I went in my 20s. That was a whole quarter. I went when I was pregnant, and then I went after I had kids. So, and the last time I went was 8 years ago. The last time, of course,
kids were little.
The kids were little, and there was a lot in that trip, meeting my birth mom. So a lot to do.
That was the first
trip.
time. 8 years ago was the first time ever meeting your birth mom.
Finding her. So looking for her.
Finding her. So that was a huge trip.
That felt like there was such a big thing on its own that I couldn't really enjoy Korea. Right. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it felt like that wasn't the point. And then this trip, I got to really just enjoy Korea with a girlfriend and just be like tourist, but also have these moments that were really genuine.
Yeah.
And the thing that I want to tell you, that I've always told you, Korean men do not find me attractive, which is fine with me because, you know, I'm happily married to.
It's like a compliment.
Yeah. Woo! Jane, burnt.
Yes.
It's true. But on this trip, Jane, men were giving me their number.
Oh. Okay.
And let's be very clear. I said, I am very married with children.
Yes.
I'm an ajumma. There was this one boy that was like, 누나. 누나, 미국에 가도 계속 연락해야 돼요. I was like, oh my God, calm down. And he wasn't gay. Which means like, 누나, older sister, you got to keep in touch, blah, blah, blah. I had such a different experience. And you know why?
Yeah,
I think,
why?
Because I told you in the past when I go to Korea, and we had this trepidation as being Korean Americans. They don't love kyopos.
No.
They think they have this almost like weird 질투, jealousy kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a weird looking down on, but also jealousy.
Yeah, because they want to. It's weird.
It is
it's
weird.
Like, you're not good enough to be one of us, but also we want your life. Like, weird dynamic. And I think it makes it a little bit like bitter. And then they're just like rude to us for that reason. But this go around, I got so much praise for my Korean being really good. I mean, I have gotten praises for it before, but it was like really like, there was this guy that was like, you should thank your mother. You should thank, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, wow.
You're like, I'd like to thank me.
Yeah. Jane, you're pulling out these like zingers that are so good. I like to thank me and only me for all my hard work. Exactly. But I was actually proud because they were so, before it was kind of like, oh, your Korean's good. But this time, I think because we were engaged in such full conversations, they were like, oh my God.
You're going beyond the surface of asking for directions or ordering food or
and there's
small
genuine
talk.
interest from them. Like, when did you go? Like, tell me more, which I haven't had before in my other trips.
And Koreans don't strike me as people who care to listen and want to know your story.
Exactly. They're usually like, mind your own business, mind my own business, get out of my way sort of situation. But on this trip, I got so many intrigue. And I think I know why. So now that Korea, okay, first of all, Gyeongbokgung. I went to Gyeongbokgung. And I've gone to Gyeongbokgung 8 years ago. And before that too.
The palace.
I have never seen it so fucking packed.
Really?
Packed. It was.
What time did you go?
So, wait, what day was it? Well, all the schools were there. Korean schools and the Korean kids were in there. And I didn't know if I was going to do the whole hanbok thing because I was like, it's a bit cheesy. And
did you do that last time?
I never did it.
Oh, you never did it?
I never did it.
Okay.
But I don't know if you know this creator, Ajumma of Dumplings.
No.
She happened to be in Korea at the same time, and she said, me and my friend are gonna go ham and just do it all. And I was like, you know what?
Why not?
So we decided, me and my girlfriend decided to get the gowns and do it all,
it's
right?
Fun.
And it was actually fun. And I decided, so a lot of like letting go and just, let's just go and do it. You know what really prompted me to do it? Because all the school children. I was like,
it's like, really fun.
I never got to go to a field trip with, while I was, when I was little here. And and it just brought me back to like how sweet, right?
Yes.
And so I decided to go full gear, but it was so packed. It was packed with the children. It was packed. I don't know if it was it seemed like a school field trip day, but it was also packed with foreigners, just everywhere. You couldn't get a picture of the palace without
people in it. Yeah.
So I was like, wow, Korea has become such a tourist destination now. It's like kind of overwhelming. And I think that's why Koreans now appreciate me, because they are now so now they don't bat an eye seeing a white person. It's more like common. So they're like, oh, 외국인. Especially in Myeongdong, right? Like tourist. Now there's places that are just completely tourist taken over, right? So now that when they see a kyopo like me, who has really good, you know what? I'm going to say it because so many people told me that I do.
You do.
Who has really good Korean and is fully engaged. They're like, tell me more.
Right.
I really like you. Give me your number. We have to keep in touch.
Most tourists don't have this attitude. It's like you go for yourself and for the Instagram moments and or to make memories for yourself, but you're not really, thinking about prioritizing what am I going to leave behind.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I think because I was like, oh, what do you do? How's your day? Like I'm genuinely you know that about me. I'm genuinely curious about people, and they took their that interest to heart and they got fully into it, and they were like, oh my gosh. And then I went to Itaewon and met these guys, and I told my friend, like, we cannot drink anything. Like, we have to, like, be really careful here. Especially, we're going to be perceived as easy. Yes. And I did the whole warning. And then somebody was like, want to come over and have a drink? Let's go! My friend was like, weren't you the one telling me? You know why? It was also because they look so harmless, these guys that asked us. One of them looked like a gagman from Running Man. Okay. Like, and he was just like, let's go. Like, he was just like a shorty with glasses. He just looked so comical. And then what was really funny was that while he's trying to dance with us, I just happened to look over, and there's a guy at a table looking so sad to, like, just sitting there. Like, why am I here? Kind of like, and I was like, that's so sad. Like, I felt genuinely bad for him. Then he's like, no, let's go and sit with my friend. And then it turns out to be the friend. Oh. And then he was like, he lit up and was like, oh, hi, I lived in Canada for a few years, so he could speak a little English. Good. So he was like, oh, this is cool. Now I get to talk to people. And then he later told us, so the clearly the shorter comical guy was the older. And he looked to be like late 40s, and then this guy that was
that's old.
Huh?
Late 40s?
He may look older than... Oh, I found out. He may have been mid-40s, but he looked older.
And were they bachelors?
No, but then the younger one was in his 30s. Okay. Which I didn't know until later, but he definitely looked younger. So then there was a one point where he, like, bought us, and he goes, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. The older one left, right? And then the younger one's like, you can run now. Like, I'm here. He's my boss. He dragged me out here. And I had told.
Was it Pishik?
Kind of like, I think like they're close. Okay. So he's like, I want to go out. Okay. Come with me. And so he got dragged out. He's like, I don't want to be here either. So if you want to free yourself. But it was so funny. We were laughing. And like, I told my girlfriend, like, this is the work culture here. A lot of times they are out with their bosses and stuff too. So anyways, but then we got to talking. We were making jokes, and it was just like, and then they started talking about, I was like, oh, so you're both single? And the older one had been married, but got divorced. And he's like, I just want a fun life. And I just felt like being married was like, you get a paycheck and go, oh, bring it home to your wife. Like, there's like Korean women here are so demanding, and listen, as they should, right? Like, but I think there is sort of the sense that they're also not. It's not just that. It's like they feel stifled by, like, the women that marry want things a certain way, but it's like so intertwined with, like, we have to have kids and we have to do this by the book, right? And he's like, and then they're like, well, that's sort of like an old way of living. We don't have to do anything by the book. The men want to be, I guess, more free or whatever. So in a way, I was like, oh, okay, we're listening. And then the younger one was like, yeah, like, I had a girlfriend, but it felt very much like technical. That's the terms that they were using. And they did have this romanticization of us, I think, being foreigners. Like, we're more easy to talk to. There's no, like, goal.
Like, our gender roles are fluid or something.
Yeah. I love you. Jane's already getting irate. So Jane's getting irate. Jane's face is so real. She's like, 웃기고 지랄하네. Like laughable. So yeah, I was listening to it with a comical ear. Like, so they're telling us their woes as Korean men.
You guys are safe. You're American women, and we're
not gonna judge them. And we're gonna be more open to hear. So inside, I was laughing, but I thought it was funny that they thought that it was going to be so different somewhere else. And they're stifled by the Korean work-life balance culture. And so they're telling us their woes, but you're so fun and free and you're willing to come out to Itaewon and, you know. So that was what was
You're like,
comical.
it's because we're on vacation.
Right. And but then there was a cabbie that took me to the airport. And that one was really surprising because we just got on. And all of a sudden he started talking to me. He's like, oh, so where are you from? And I was like, oh, I'm from Seattle, Washington. He's like, oh, I also... His story was interesting. He goes, you know, I lived in Canada for like 4 years because we wanted to have our child in Canada. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, it's a thing people do. I mean, he's like,
we know that.
Yeah,
but
I know. But to openly say it like so matter of factly, I was like, oh. He goes, you know how it is. Like, my kid's not smart.
Oh, well.
He's like, you know, we're not like rich people. So we just figured if we had the opportunity, and we're always going to come back to Korea, but if we had the opportunity and we could do it, if he had a Canadian passport, his access to education might be better if he didn't want to do it in Korea.
I see.
And I was like, wow, like you thought that out that long. And he goes, oh, but you know what was scary? My wife wanted to live there permanently. And she really just didn't. She was making all these schemes. And I was like, I can't live. He's telling me stories like, I can't live in Canada. I can't live here. I have to go back to Korea. I was like, oh, why did you feel that way? And he goes, oh, do you know how expensive cigarettes are in Canada? I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, in Korea, it's like $2 for a pack. In Canada, it was like $12. I was like, and then he goes, oh, and soju? Don't even get me started on soju. Here, it's like $2, and there, it's like $20. Like, I can't live in a place like that. And I was like, and then I said, or you could quit. And he goes, oh my God, I've been doing this for like 30 years. There's no way I'm going to quit smoking. It's like, it's too late for me. But I love, like, he was just going on and on.
Surprised that he opened conversation first.
Yeah.
We never had a cab driver open conversation with us in Korea.
Well, that was what and it was like flowing. My friend fell asleep because me and him were just talking so exclusively in Korean. And the ride to the airport from Seoul is long. And he just kept asking me. He's like, oh, you know, and when you come back next time, can I just say, like, can you have my number and we can go out for a drink? Just to like, and he was talking about his wife.
Partner.
Yeah, it wasn't like a hit on. It was totally platonic. And he was like, yeah, our kid is this old. And, you know, he's like, I didn't grow up rich. My wife didn't grow up rich. And we didn't grow up like, we're not good at studying. And our kid doesn't seem to be either. And so I don't want to push him to be that's all you have to do. He's like really good with his hands. I could see him being like you know, a creator of some sorts of something. And I was like, that's so nice. Yeah. But he was so like open-minded and he was saying these funny things. And I said to him, I was like, 저쪽이랑 너랑 나랑도 너무 지금 잘 맞거든요. 이렇게 말이 너무 잘 통해요. Like I said, you and I are like really, and like you said, cab drivers do not talk.
No.
They tend to be older.
Yes.
And he started saying that. He's like, you know, the cab drivers tend to be older. Ajishis, they don't want to talk. No. And they usually don't speak. I mean, he didn't speak English. He's like, oh no, believe me, I don't speak any English. Even though I live in Canada, I lived in Koreatown. So I got...
Did they live in Vancouver or Toronto?
Toronto.
Okay.
And he's like, I lived in Koreatown in Toronto. I could get away with not speaking any English, so please, don't judge me, but it is what it is. And then, but he was like, yeah, a lot of young people choose my cab. Well, it's a little bit more expensive because it was an SUV cab, and we needed it because we had too much luggage.
Yeah. Was it IM taxi? Or?
Oh!
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because that's what we knew we had to call when we had a lot of luggage.
Oh, so he was saying, yeah, but typically, even when people don't have luggage, it's because they don't want the old ajishis, they'll choose me. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So I was like, hey, you know, our conversation, I feel like I can talk to you so easily. 너무 잘 통하는데 혹시 몇 년생이세요? Like, what year were you born? He goes, oh, 저 81. Same as me. I was like, oh my God.
So did you 말 놓아? Did you like start
I was like,
talking?
내가 이럴 줄 알았어. 나도 81이야. Oh no, actually I didn't. I kept it formal. I mean, I was like, 나도 81인데. Like, now that I think about it. Like,
rhetorically.
이럴 줄 알았어. 너무 말 잘 되는 게 통하는 게 있구나. So he was surprised, and I was like, this is why our conversation was flowing so well. But yeah, it just felt so open. And I think it's because Korea has had such an influx of tourists. And like you said, tourists don't have, they're there for themselves, right? And Korean people feel like they're just getting pushed away
Mm-hmm.
to their playground. So it feels like when you have a Korean American who can speak Korean and have a genuine interest in people's lives, I think they're like, find it refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very well received.
That's
and
amazing.
the most positive experience
Uh-huh.
I've ever had in Korea.
Wow.
It was, and so I know you saw the video that I made where this guy made a comment that was like, I hope you get booted out of Korea.
Yeah. David Junshik.
You should be named Yo Mushik. Oh, but I was so, and you know what?
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, in the very back of my mind,
Mm-hmm.
I feared that could happen to me
Mm.
if I got into an argument with someone, some
Sure.
namja, some
Mhm.
like super patriarchal
Mhm.
namja at a bar or something. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think of scenarios.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so in the very back of my mind, I do have that fear. Like, I have to act accordingly. I
Uh-huh.
can't be my loud mouth, like go off on people.
Mm-hmm.
So, but for someone else to say that towards
Mhm.
me was
Mhm.
like fucking like pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing even remotely close to that happened. Even the ajumas love me this time around. And you know they don't like anybody. They were like, 어머머머, 한국말 잘하네. Wow. Like everywhere. I got praises.
That's amazing. Did you feel like you got all the affirmation in that one trip?
Yes.
That you were missing.
I feel like finally it's my time. My time. Thank you, people, for paving the way for me to finally be appreciated. Like, I got the real love for my Korea and my Korean people. So it was so satisfying.
Yeah.
For like to finally feel seen by my own people, which was also totally not expected.
Yeah.
You
managed your expectations.
I went with so much like, oh, but I better not get into a fight.
Uh-huh.
You know, I was worried I would get
Better
into a fight.
behave. Yeah, it's going to be a reflection on all Korean Americans.
I don't know if I asked you how you felt going.
We had largely a positive experience, but we were definitely perceived as foreign.
Right.
And
I love the people that are like, to me, they were like, 한국말 잘하는데 한국에서 사는 사람은 아니죠. Like, your
스타일 보면은
something like,
yeah.
I was like, 네, 미국에서 온 거예요. 그럴 줄 알았어. Like, they're so happy to know
that they pegged you.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it was genuine like confusion, like their brains were gonna.
Yeah, the dissonance, like you're speaking my language.
Yeah,
you sound native.
I can see them glitching, like with the info. Like, what is this? What is this? Oh,
I told you in Myeongdong, in a cosmetics store.
Yeah,
I had an experience where the saleswoman came up to me and was speaking in she was struggling to speak English.
And then you were like, just talk to me in Korean.
And then she started speaking to me in Chinese, and I said, 그냥 한국말로 하세요. And she was like,
yeah,
like, I'm so sorry. Like, you just look so foreign.
Yeah, the the street vendors are like, ni hao, konnichiwa. They said that to me. Oh, did you ever get that?
No.
The Korean. And I was like,
brother. Yeah. And what did you say?
I said, 괜찮아요. 싫어요. 벌써 샀어요. 죄송합니다. Man, it be my own fucking people. Do you know how like to get that in America and then to get it in Korea by my own people? It be your own people sometimes.
But it's like, be the same. Like, why can't you just treat humans the same? You know what I'm saying? Why is it when they are when you out them, they're like, so, like, they feign courtesy. It's weird.
Because they have guilt.
Yeah.
Right? Because they knew they were being a certain. It's because
they're all visually assessing you and judging you and treating,
they feel caught.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They feel like they were trying to pull one over on you, but then, oh my God, you're Korean. You know my game. And I'm like, It's cool, man. Like, don't.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you the most wholesome, cutest thing ever. So on my flight back, there was a whole plane full of Korean middle schoolers. And they were all from this art school. And they do I forgot the Korean name for it, the folk performances with the hat. What do you call that? I forgot.
Muyong? Muyong is like the
Yeah, but there's a
the
specific,
female. I don't know.
Yeah. He taught. So I sat next to a Korean boy, 14 years old. He reminded me. I wanted to pinch his cheeks. I didn't.
Yeah.
I was gonna, but I didn't. But he was also big. He was like taller than me, and he's a big boy. But he reminded me of his cheeks and hair. Reminded me of the boy from Up.
Yeah.
That's who I was sitting next to, and he was like, 저 미국 처음 가요. It was he talked like a little cool.
They must have been so excited.
Yeah.
Where were they? They were going to Seattle?
Seattle, but they were going to be in Federal Way. I think some Federal Way community, Korean community invited them, and that's how they're going. But when I sat down and I recognized that he was Korean, I was like, 학교에서 같이 다 가는 거야? Like he was like, 한국 분이세요? You're Korean? I was like, 한국 사람인지 몰랐어? He goes, no, I heard you, like, he was like, I heard you
speaking English.
So I assumed you weren't Korean.
Sure.
I was like, 나 한국 사람이야. 한국말 잘하시네요. Like, this little boy was telling me this, and I was like, he's so cute. I was like, 너는 왜 여기로 가는데? And then he does the drum thing and the traditional. And so he's like, I was like, wow, so this is a special art school, and in this special art school, like 20 of them were selected to go. And he was like, yeah, I got selected. And he was like so excited. It was so cute. And he's like, and then I think at one point he goes, 창문 좀 열어주세요. Like the window. Can you open the window? I was like, okay. I opened it. He goes, 와, 한국 나라 진짜 떠난다. Like, I'm really leaving Korea. I mean, he had been to the Philippines, he said, but he's like, I've never been this far. And it was like, it was so cute. Yeah. His like the purity of it. Yeah. And then he gave me a strip of his, like, I offered him my kimbap I had bought for the plane. And he was like, 괜찮아요. And he goes, 이거 먹어보실래요? It was like this little strip candy, like cornstarch. And I was like, 먹을만 하죠. Like, isn't it? He brought a whole bag of that.
So
it was
cute.
just so cute. And so I asked him some questions, and he was talking about how this is his life path.
He's gonna be performed.
In adulthood. Yeah.
Wow.
I guess those, like, I'm guessing Korea has a special program because this is sort of like their arts. So for people who are gonna continue this old traditional folk art, there must be, like, and he's like, yeah, my whole life is gonna be, I'm gonna go to college for this.
That's
too.
amazing.
And I know, to know that so young. And he was just so and then because it was his first time on the plane, like, he didn't know, like, the plane, like, that the flight attendant as we're at certain meal times, pull up your chair, that kind of thing.
Yes, all that kind of stuff.
Well, this was a late flight. We started at 6, but we were going to come into Seattle middle of the day. So we had to sleep at some point on this. And I noticed that he wasn't sleeping. I couldn't sleep either because it was too hot and my back was hurting. Those flights are brutal now. Like, I don't know. It's going to take me some time to forget about this one because it really was hard on my body.
Yes.
So then
and those seats, it makes like, it is not good for your lumbar.
Yeah,
like,
it was really tough.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sleeping, and I noticed he wasn't sleeping. And at one point, he and I both dozed off. And then the meal ladies came, like, meal. So I got up, and I was like, oh, okay. And then the meal lady was like, hello. He was trying to wake him up. He was out. And then we were both shaking this big kid. Yeah. And I, like, pounded on it. Yeah. He was like, and he was so out of it. He was so, you know how when you're so tired and you're out of it when you wake up? He was like, you have to pull the chair up. He just stood there. He just sat there frozen.
Yeah.
Then me and the flight attendant were hoisting his chair up.
Yeah.
And he just still sat there like.
I'm sure he told his mom about you. Like there was this kind
Yeah.
woman on the plane next to him, helping him.
Yeah, and but so towards the end he said, 너무 같이 앉아서 진짜 고맙습니다. 재밌었고요. Like he was like, this was so fun, and I think he was very anxious.
Yeah.
So, because the person right to him was like a foreigner, not Korean, wasn't speaking English. I think they might have been like Chinese or something. So he was like, you know,
and were they all kind of scattered throughout the plane? Yeah.
Some of them were seated together, but he was definitely one of the scattered ones. And I was like, no problem. And this is the most auntie thing I've done, Jane. I was like, I gave him $20.
용돈.
And I said, 맛있는 거 사 먹어. And he goes, 고맙습니다. I am so accepted by my Korean people, finally, young and old.
I mean, what a perfect way to end the trip.
Yeah,
right?
I felt so, it really nourished my soul. Like my Korean people embraced me in a way I've longed for, and it finally happened. So it was really gratifying.
Did you tell him that he could find you on TikTok after?
I did, and he goes,
he was like, I didn't know I was sitting next to a star the whole time. Yeah.
You know, the kids really do appreciate it, I have to say. So I was like, tell me how. I exchanged Insta with them. I was like, I want to see your journey. I want to keep in touch with you. I want to see you do great things.
Yeah.
So make Korea proud.
No.
I didn't know it could be this good.
He's gonna remember you, so. And he's gonna.
I hope he does become famous, and then like I can be one of his like friends.
Yeah.
Wishful thinking.
Well, I'm glad that you had a redemptive Korea experience.
Yes. And now I can say, you know, my people accept me. Until next time, Jane.
응답하라 여친.